How's it going, guys? Welcome to Friday's upload. Now, I have a UU match for you today against none other than BlameTruth himself. He commented on a video, a couple of weeks back, something like that. He was like, yeah, I got a UU team if you want to play it. And then I was like, yeah, sure, I fucking love UU. Anyone that knows me knows I love UU and RU and that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'll just bring a team, he'll bring his team, and then we'll just kind of have at it. I was kind of suspecting something super serious, but it's obviously got some kind of structure to it that's a little more casual, but it still works out for him. Same as me, you've kind of seen me use variations of this team. So we'll go ahead and see how it plays out. He's going to go ahead and lead off with Darmanitan, or at least what I think is Darmanitan. If you know anything about Roserade, its physical defense isn't really anything to write home about. And I take that U-turn actually kind of good. I'm not saying it's fantastic, but a Darmanitan would have done more damage than that. So it's probably something to keep in the back of my head in case, if that does happen to be Zoroark, and, if I start seeing Darmanitan a little bit more than normal, then that's what it could be. At that point, it could have just been me, underestimating Roserade's physical defense, which is pretty non-existent as is. But as you can see, I went for the Sludge Bomb because I did see that he had a Xatu. He was actually predicting me to set up spikes or toxic spikes, that kind of thing. I would have gone for the Sleep Powders because I was in the lead spot, but because I saw that, I didn't want to get it bounced back or anything like that. Now in the stream, I said if he goes for the Thunder Wave, I'm probably just going to end up going out to Dusclops. The reason I go out to this to take it because I don't want my Dusclops getting toxic or burned. If there's a condition that I'm going to want, if there's a poke that I'm going to want being status, it's going to be Dusclops with the paralysis because it's the thing that'll have the least amount of impact on my team. Because it's already pretty slow, and then if something else tries to toxic or burn, I don't know what else he has on his movesets or anything like that, but I can go into this as a nice little safety net to prevent any other statuses on everything else. But I go for sub on the switch because I know all he can really do is just end up Nightshading, and then I'll end up going second after the Nightshade, and I should be able to get a sub off, that kind of thing. But he just goes for the U-turn as I go for a sub. As you can see, the Scald does not break the first sub, so I'm going to go for the sub on the second Scald. Just to gauge, see how much it's going to end up doing. And it turns out that it is a 2-hit KO on the sub. So I get it up on the second one and decides to go out to Xatu, actually predicting my curse because he's familiar with his Dusclops. And we didn't know at the time whether or not it bounced back. So I was kind of scared, but it turns out that it doesn't bounce back. It's straight up just a ghost. I'm cutting my half HP and there's not a damn thing you can do about it regardless of your ability or anything like that. I guess it's on a completely different mechanic that nothing else in the game really touches, other than the ghost type kind of thing, everything other than ghost, just getting stat boost, that kind of thing. But problem is although I have killed off Xatu, that does leave me exposed, so I do lose my Dusclops, but I do regain the ability to put things to sleep with Roserade, again, without having to fear anything else coming in. And I do believe it's like at full health, or pretty close to full health. I don't remember if my sash got ruined or not along the way, but I do have that option available to me now. So I don't know what I'm going to put to sleep, but if there's an opportunity, I'll take it. Why not? Now, right here, he was actually expecting a counter set, which is pretty interesting. No, I just got Fake Out. I got a couple priority moves. Ice Shard's going to be pretty handy against Flygon, so I don't want this thing to hit too many things that it really doesn't need to. But he hard switches out to Suicune for that reason, just on the off chance that I did want to end up going for the counter. I haven't seen that set in a really long time. I've seen it maybe twice. But he's going to end up going for the Scald on a switch. Looks like, oh yeah, fucking duh, my Roserade took a hit on the first turn. What am I thinking? Okay, turns out I get burned. Don't really mind too much because I do the... no, I can't talk. I do have the natural cure, but the thing is I don't really want to take this damage. I think it's the only real thing I have on this team that wants to take Scalds, and he doesn't want to take a Leaf Storm or a Grass move or anything like that. I don't think he knows what kind of Grass move I have right now, so I'm just going to go for the Leaf Storm because I know nothing on his team is really going to want to appreciate it, outside of Darmanitan, but he's probably going to want to keep that thing pretty fresh just because he's got... I was assuming that the Darmanitan was Scarf, but it's not. We learn later it's Life Orb. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and switch up because I have the lowered spec attack. I can also use it to heal off my burn. And I'm thinking he specs, just based on the structure of his team. So based on that, he's probably going to end up going for the Volt Switch on my Switch. And since he's stuck on an electric move, he's going to have to get out. Problem is, my Crocodile is very well prepared for that. I can go for the Pursuit, and, Raikou's automatically hasn't done anything in the game and will not do anything. I don't have to worry about it, taking specs T-bolts or Volt Switches or anything like that. It's good to go. The problem is Darmanitan comes in, or at least what I think is Darmanitan. But I'm going to go out into my Hitmontop, and I think this is the actual Darmanitan because it ends up taking a Life Orb from the U-turn, and I believe his Zoroark is Scarfed. Haven't learned that yet at the moment, but I guess it's just kind of information to talk about. As you can see, you know, after the -1 Intimidate, that U-turn really does nothing. And the cool thing about my Hitmontop is I have Toxic on it. I don't know why I didn't go for it right now. I guess I was just really fearing getting the burn. But looking at it, having a Toxic on a Suicune is a little bit more, I guess, valuable to me than my Hitmontop getting burned itself, since I'm just going to be using this thing as a pivot switch anyway. It's not designed to take anything else, since it's got all of its EVs in bulk. So the reason for me switching out to my Rotom right here was probably a little bit of an over-the-top prediction, because I thought he was going to have Ice Beam on this thing, and ended up going for it on my Roserade, which would have come in. But it turns out I think he only has Scald, so he's just going to go for that. Now, he does switch out, you know, predicting the electric move. He does get it right. Now, here is a pretty funny part of the game. This is like 2 turns. He actually predicts my switch and ends up going for the Earthquake. Doesn't affect me thanks to the Levitate. I go for the T-Bolt, decide to stay in and keep going for the T-Bolt just because I think he's going to switch out because he's locked in on Earthquake. And we both keep thinking we're going to switch out. And we're talking to each other in the Skype call, and we're like, okay, on this turn, we're both going to, you know, do a hard switch out because this is really boring in the live stream. It was a funny little moment, don't get me wrong. I've never had that happen in a battle before, but we're gonna go ahead and double switches to get the ball rolling again. It turns out I didn't really get the better end of this. If I had Hitmontop Toxic it earlier, then I could have faked out to get the flinch and then just get a little bit of residual damage as well as a little bit of you know, passive damage combined with the fake out and the Toxic. But it turns out that this is not his Suicune. It turns out to be a Zoroark, so that thing's kind of disguised as something else, I believe, owing to U-turns and things like that. And he's gonna go ahead and go out into his Flygon. I figure I might as well just leave this thing in, just to, you know, potentially sack it as fodder depending on what it's going to go for. And it turns out he goes for the Stone Edge. Now, this is kind of cool, just because I can go into my Weavile after this, get a safe switch, and I can go for the Ice Shard. I don't know if he's going to want to, you know, play that aggressively and decide to leave it in on the off chance, you know, maybe I'm bluffing, that kind of thing. But for now, he plays it safe, decides to go back out to what I believe is the real Suicune. It only makes sense that, oh, you know what, I coaxed him into a double switch here, so this is kind of what I did. Kind of risky in that I switched out to Roserade, but, you know, he didn't want to risk taking an Ice Shard or anything like that, just based on the way I sent it in. So, as he switches out to his Darmanitan, I'm actually going to go ahead and use this opportunity to put either that or something else to sleep. The Suicune is the main thing really stopping me from making any progress, just because if Suicune can be taken out, then Crocodile can come in and just Earthquake a lot of things, you know, potentially take him out, just get Moxie going on, that kind of thing. But I go for the Sludge Bomb, doesn't end up taking it out, and the fact that he stayed asleep for more than 1 turn is pretty huge because this means I get to take him out. This is not his Zoroark, that kind of thing. So I believe he's got his Flygon, he's got his Zoroark, and he's got his Suicune left. I have my Roserade, my Crocodile, and my Hitmontop left. I'm pretty sure the score is 3-3 at this point, so things are going to wind down pretty quickly. But as you can see, I'm just going to get the Intimidate off on this and, you know, just based on whatever move it's going to go for. Doesn't really end up doing a whole lot, but he's going to end up U-turning right back out to Suicune. And I decide that if I'm going to make any progress, I need some passive damage going on with Toxic, so that way Crocodile can get sure kills and then hopefully end up taking out some things. Oh, you know what? I still have Weavile left too. I totally forgot about that. So I got, I have Roserade, Crocodile, Hitmontop, and Weavile. And right now, I'm pretty sure I try to go for the Toxic. Take the Scald, okay, I guess. I mean, you know, I'm not invested in Spec D or anything like that. He's not invested in attack. I can sit here and take a couple of these, but I don't want to get burned. So he's going to end up going for the Scald again. I believe he doesn't get the burn on this. I did miss the Toxic on the previous turn. Kind of splitting hairs in terms of the amount of passive damage it's getting off. It really would have made a bigger impact if I went for it earlier in the game and it ended up missing. But because I went for it right now, it's just 1/16 of his HP. It's really not going to, you know, end up being a big thing in the long run. Now right here, I kind of had like some Sixth Sense shit going on. I was like, you know what? You're going to burn me on this turn, so I'm going to go for the Sucker Punch to get a little bit of damage off. And he does get the burn, but I don't know whether or not the principle was actually ended up being better than the other play. I guess what I'm trying to say is whether or not a close combat while being burned would have been stronger than a regular Sucker Punch. I didn't know that off the top of my head, and I was like, I'm just going to call it right now and then get a little bit of damage off. You know, it's not going to really be a big deal either way. I'm kind of just running out the rest of my HP so I can bring something in safely. But he tries to predict my Sucker Punch. I do end up nailing this thing with the close combat. As you can see, it doesn't really do that much to Flygon, so just imagine how much it would have done to Suicune. Probably a little bit more, if anything, but we're kind of just focusing on one little thing while I'm just waiting for myself to end up dying. But I go for the sucker punch right now because I know he's going to end up going for an attacking move regardless. I kind of want to see what it is, so I decide, you know, finally leave this thing in to die, and then I'm going to have a safe switch. Now, I decide to send in my Weavile right now, and he makes a very gross over-prediction in thinking that I'm not going to try to kill this thing, you know, right off the bat. I'm going to go ahead and Ice Shard it. The prior damage does not matter at all, especially because of the 4 times weakness. So kind of all that stuff I was talking about like a minute ago is just kind of a moot point, especially because all I did was hit the Flygon and that kind of thing. Now it's really coming down to the wire, in that he has a Zoroark and a Suicune left. Zoroark is no longer transformed, so I can see what it's doing. And the fact that it outpaces my Weavile definitely confirmed for Scarf, as I mentioned earlier in the game. And now no, you know what? I lost my Weavile. Just kind of ignore what I said like 10 seconds ago. But now I have Crocodile, and now I have Roserade. I know I can take a Flamethrower just because I'm at full HP. I know, you know, he's not Life Orb or anything like that, but he's going to go ahead and go into his Suicune, and this is a very important play in the game that I really should have spent probably a little bit longer than 30 seconds thinking about. But as I go for the Earthquake on this thing, paying attention to Roserade's damage from earlier in the game, I should have switched that thing in now, chanced the burn, and then, you know, if I didn't end up dying from the burn or getting a burn in the first place, a Leaf Storm for sure would have taken out either one of these things. But instead, I decided to go for the Earthquake, just get a little bit of damage off. And the other thing I was thinking about is even if it did end up killing off my Roserade, it would have been a little more toxic damage, which I don't know how long it would have helped me out depending on how long Roserade decided to stay in, or was able to stay in against Suicune. But it's because I make this error in judgment in that I'm no longer prepared for Zoroark, and it's going to be able to outpace the rest of my team. Now the question is I don't know what his moveset is, so I don't know whether or not he's going to be able to take everything out. So I'm like, okay, if he's got Focus Blast, whatever. Then again, he could go for Flamethrower at that range and it wouldn't end up taking me out. But he tells me right here that it's good game because he does have Hidden Power Ice, which will be able to hit both of these super effectively, and the fact that I misplayed Rotom right now is just really coming back to bite me in the ass. I probably could have played that differently. But as I send in my last, which happens to be Roserade, he's just going to go ahead and take that out, and it leaves him with a very narrow 1-0, and I'm kind of kicking myself for the misplay I made a couple turns before. But that's how it goes, you know, trip up at the finish line, you still get second place award, and that's not bad. Kind of get a gold star for that. Silver star, whatever the fuck you got in kindergarten for not getting top marks. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. A little bit of a longer one, but he told me I was free to upload it whenever, so expect it on his channel sometime in the near future as well. I got this, maybe TCGO tomorrow, I'm not 100% sure on that. And then next week, I don't know what the uploading schedule is really going to be like next week. It really depends on, you know, a lot of external factors. So when I get home, if I feel like uploading, I'll upload. If not, that kind of thing, you know, whatever happens, happens, I guess. So that'll do it for today. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you next time.